Howdy guys, how's it going? So we have got a special video today or tonight, you know, whatever the time it is that you're viewing this. But behind me, I've got a hole that I dug about 2 years ago. The last time I measured it, the upper end being the highest point, we was sitting somewhere around 9 to 10 feet. But since then, it's, you know, there's a lot of debris and stuff that's washed out in there. A lot of the sidewalls have kind of eroded a bit. Now, like the root system from all these trees and everything has kind of helped that stop at the top end. It's really just kind of as you get lower down into the medium section of the walls. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to get the shovel out, even the walls out, clean out the debris, all the leaves and everything, try to fashion some sort of roof for this thing. I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about that yet. I want to do kind of like a flat roof with dirt on top and, you know, then cover it with leaves and debris and just kind of make it blend in. But there's some potential safety concerns there. And also, I don't know where I want to find that. Well, I mean, I'm in the forest, but I don't know if I want to cut down that many trees. I got some poles and stuff that I can reuse from a shelter that's not too far away, but I also have an idea on how I can take and make like a miniature fireplace for this. But that's, you know, all this is kind of experimental. I've done, you know, dugout shelters and stuff, camped in them, but I've never done one to this scale because this thing is very deep, and I'll show you here in a second. Let me get this backpack off. Now, this time of year, there shouldn't be any snakes, but then again, this is full with a lot of debris, so there could be some, you know, kind of buried up under all these leaves. So I'm going to go around with the good old doohickey right here. But yeah, just for reference, that right there, that's all debris, but it's filled in quite a bit with not just leaves and fallen sticks, but as that dirt and sediment's collected back at the bottom, it's rose about 2 foot from what it was, because I'm 5'10", so, you know, at its lowest point it measured somewhere around 9 feet, but this is for scale, so it's easily head height. Where it's washed out, there's a giant rock right there. Rock falling on me, let's put it that way. So I don't know, I might not even end up utilizing the whole space, because now that I'm looking at it, to have something span across this whole gap, and since I don't want to use that spot for safety concerns with that rock, I might go for some lean-to type construction against one side, and then that way, if it rains or snows, it can travel around. I can keep firewood on the outside too, and then I don't know how easy it's going to be to do the fireplace idea that I have, but I definitely want to give it a go. To make my own life a heck of a lot easier, make this go faster, I want to use this thick reusable emergency space blanket and try to get a lot of this stuff on this, and then I want to take and bring it on the outside and stack it up, because we should be able to reuse it later to, you know, kind of cover up everything. And one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned at the opening of this, is like this was 100% dug by hand. We're literally in the middle of the woods, and there's no way you could even get any type of like digging equipment in here unless you took and cut down maybe a crap ton of trees, let's put it that way, and big trees. So this overall, I would say that I've done this over the course of 2 weeks, just the few times, like the 4 or 5 times I was able to hike up in a 2-week period. And I would say the grand total amount of time spent digging the hole was somewhere between 24 and 30 hours of actual dig time, because like there was a bunch of huge rocks. I had to hike a mattock up here. Then, you know, I used that shovel, that folding military shovel, and a bucket to like get the dirt out and you know, throw it over the edge. A lot of it where I've dumped it on this side, see, because we're up on the hill, we're like 4/5 the way up at the top of this hill. And I've done that too, because, you know, if you're digging down this deep, you don't want to, you know, you don't want to get into the watershed, but there is a creek down in the holler right there. So it's close to water, but not, you know, close enough that we have to worry about, you know, too much seepage. But anytime you do like an earth shelter, there's going to be water seepage of some type. Got a couple poles cut. Now I'm going to take and try to even this section out a little bit, and then I think I know how I'm going to do this, because I know for a fact that whenever I come and, you know, do the first overnighter here, I'll probably use that space blanket as a door to close off this section. So I'm really just worried about from basically right here, because I want to be on the outside of that rock. There's a giant rock right there. I'm going to get at these little pieces that they're probably going to end up crumbling whenever I take and try to start setting up. And then where we have this giant rock and it slants upward, I'm going to dig this out, and then all the smoke and stuff will, you know, travel up through there. And then I can take some dirt and surround this left wall of it. And that'll keep draft or anything from blowing smoke inside the shelter. And then I'll make sure I clip all these roots and stuff so we don't have to worry about anything coming in from that. But I'm just worried because the type of clay this is. I'm pretty sure that if I try to do the fireplace, which I still might try it, but my problem is going to be getting a chimney situation made, because dirt down here for now, because I need to level the floor out on the inside. I also should be able to use some of these rocks for that too. Whew, water break. Me that's kind of tempted just to make a solid frame, and then bring in my old canvas tarp that's like an 8x8. Either way, I'm gonna take a couple more logs. That way, if I use it and it snows or something, we ain't got to worry about you know, the tarp collapsing or anything like that. That should be more than enough just to keep that from sliding. I've also got to redo my staircase to get on the inside and out of this thing. I'm going to take and try spacing these out a little bit more. It gets me, you know, off the ground. So I'm thinking about running a ditch along this lower edge down into this, what will essentially be a drainage area. Anything that'll poke it. It's a really thick canvas, but it was a very expensive canvas too. Okay, now one thing I do want to attempt to do, which might be a really stupid idea as far as the wall caving in, but it would be nice to have like a candle holder. Sorry that it's in the shade. You can't quite see it too good. Right there's the candle holder. Definitely probably can't see that drainage hole. So it is finally time for the camp to go down. So they lifted the fire ban. I've brought out the equipment that I think that I need for everything. I've got a steak to cook along with a pot of some really delicious vegetables, and I'm already hungry, but we still got quite a bit to do. And that hike was a bit more wearing than I thought it would be, because my Alice pack, I got a frame for it, but I took it off while I've been like carrying it while I was hunting, because it makes a lot of noise, like the little buckles and stuff beat against that metal frame. But it would have come in a lot more handy, because I got you can't see it because of the wool blanket, but I've got my big 8x8 extremely thick waxed canvas tarp that we're going to be using as our main cover element. But before that, I decided I know what I'm going to do with my bedding system, and I'll go ahead and get to working on that, and then I'll explain what I'm doing once I get to working on it. But the very first thing we got to do is we got to get a fire going. Because I can always dig this out a bit more and expand it and make it bigger if I need to. But yeah, we're just going to give this a go. So I found some old dead yellow poplar limbs. So I'm just going to take and strip the bark off of that and get it all bird nested up. Okay, so there we go. We got our bird nest material. This is just 2 handfuls. You could do more, but right now this stuff right here was off the ground, so it's really dry. And also, I took and found this beauty. If I can get it without spilling the stuff I got on it. So I found a piece of an old hornet's nest, and then I found a small black birch tree. Now, like, unlike white birch, which is like up north, the black birch is down here. Until they get really big, you can only manage to rip off very tiny chunks of that, but that's just enough for the oils and stuff there. This bee's nest itself might even catch a spark from my ferro rod. Okay, so I like to use the saw blade on my multi-tool for my flint striker. You never want to use your knife blade unless you're just out having fun, but it's kind of a good thing to not get in the habit of doing. So I'm going to use this, and you can always use the back of your knife with a little do-jig that comes with it, or even a rock like quartz or chert. But this is what we're going to go with. Let's see if I'm worried this stuff is starting to draw in a little moisture from the ground. There we go. That bee's nest actually, I think, is what ended up catching. So now I'm just going to periodically keep adding wood to that until we get a good bed of coals, and just keep that going, because I can already tell you I'm ready for a nice steak. But right now I'm going to take and go get some wood to make like the bed slash floor of like the sleeping area. And once I do that, we'll get the tarp on there and fix the poncho as the door. So I'm going to try to get the sizes somewhat dimensional and start laying them out, and then kind of visualize where I want my water drain trench to run in the event there was any large amount of water. Ah, yeah. Okay, boys and girls, there we have it. So we've got our platform, our bed situated. Now I'm going to break out the old shovel and do some potential water hazard control. The next thing I want to do is, I just thought of this. I found some rocks. They're not huge. I want to put them here to kind of make sure that nothing rolls out and catches my my floor / bedding logs on fire, but also it'll take and absorb some heat and hopefully help block a little bit of the really intense heat from my feet. And you could stack it even higher, but I still got to take and cook on it here in a bit, so. Now it's time to get to the best part of the day. I don't have a good stick down here to move this around with, but we have a good bed of coals now. I'm going to have to do some fancy footwork here to, I guess I should say stick work, to fit everything, but I think we can definitely do it. So, what's on the menu for today, you might ask? We got ourselves a nice, fat, juicy seasoned steak wrapped in 2 layers of tin foil. And then in this pot, I've got taters, carrots, and onion and chicken broth inside a plastic bag. So I'm going to empty that out now. I'll be honest with you, it's proven to be a lot more difficult to film in a hole than I originally anticipated. And we'll stir that around in a minute. I mean, we'll mix it up after we get, actually get to it, get to eating it. But I'm going to take and put that right there. Then I'm going to throw our steak out on them coals there. And now I got to take and hop out and get a stick to flip that steak with. And also make note of the time. And also, I forgot a fork. So I've got to take and make me a fork real quick. Okay, so I got the old GoPro out while my other recording device is charging, but this right here gives you a much better picture. Hopefully the audio quality isn't actual dog crap, but I'm going to take here in a minute. This is the candle I brought for our candle holding position. I think I'm going to have to make it slightly bigger for it to actually be useful as far as giving off light. But right there is our beautiful meal coming up to heat. I like using the tinfoil method, one, because it does keep all that char and ash. Like you can fry like directly on the coals. You cook any meat, and you can even, you know, spit roast and stuff, but you lose a lot of the juices. And I got that thing really seasoned the way that I like it. So I'm gonna take and watch that. I gotta flip it here in a minute. Right here is about to be my you know, 2021 cooking utensils. This is gonna be my fork. It's a piece of hickory, and I'm gonna whittle down the end so that, you know, it has sharp points, and that'll be my fork for my vegetables. And then this right here is a piece of green poplar with just like a really wide wire that I can use to reach in there and flip my steak over. Stick just to flip it over and push it back into where it needs to go. But I rolled up the edges of that tin foil because I really want to make sure I can keep as much of the juices and stuff in there. I might rotate it 200 seconds because I'm sure the coals are hotter on this lower end where they've piled up a bit more due to the direction of this. I'd actually like to see if I could get this kind of squared out, even if it's resting against the pot a little bit, that I do not want my steak well done. But I just took a stick and hollowed out our nice little nifty candle holder, so you know that's not going to show up very well once it's dark and it's lit for filming purposes, but it'll give a nice little ambiance once the tarp's under here, or over here I should say. Oh my word, fellas, just look at this culinary perfection. So there's our taters, carrots, and onion and chicken broth. I'm not going to set that on there yet. And then here is our beautiful steak, medium rare. I normally prefer mine rare, to be honest, but it's kind of hard to tell the tinfoil. And if you're wondering, like, the outside might not look like it's, you know, even rare. That's just where I've had it double layered in this tinfoil. I've already cut it open and check it out. And I brought a cutting board. Oh, it's hot. Let's get our high-class fork. And like I said, I seasoned this before I come out here, so it's good and ready to go. So I'm going to take and give this bad boy a try. By the way, I just sanitized this over the fire, so for any clean freaks out there, don't freak out. Oh baby, that's good. That steak needs absolutely nothing. But I got some Old Bay. That's where that's going. So I'm gonna eat this, and then we're gonna get to putting the tarp on, and then we'll have dessert. Hey guys, here we go. So we got the tarp in place, and I gotta say I'm very pleased with how it turned out. There's definitely things that I would need to change and alterate in the event there was like going to be a lot of rain, but there's not anytime soon. I mean, I'm obviously not going to leave this expensive tarp here after tonight. So, you know, after that it's going to rain and certain things are going to wash out, and then I'll have to redo it. But I'm very pleased with how it turned out. Like, it was worth the time and effort. But it's extremely hot underneath that tarp. Like, it's only going to be getting down to like 39 to 40 tonight. And with that fire, just being that low and having that cover element, I mean, you got to think, I basically have, you know, I have a whole insulating wall, and then the roof, and then all that heat's just going to, you know, kind of get trapped under there. And since I got that raised bed, see, I brought my sleeping pad, my inflatable sleeping pad, but with that wooden bed right there, I mean, I won't call it a bed, it's literally just, you know, pieces of wood forming a platform. But I think I'm just going to use the wool blanket. I mean, I've done that many times. It's not uncomfortable, I can assure you. But my thing is, I don't think I'm even going to be using the cover element. just using my leather jacket as like a blanket for my upper half, and then I brought that really thick wool sweater, and that's all. That's overkill. If anything, I can take and, you know, double up my wool blanket as the sleeping mat, but staying warm is not going to be an issue tonight. Okay, let's do a little quick tour with the old GoPro. So there we have that. Ended up with the length being that there was enough for this to drape down, so I don't even have to use my poncho, so I have that as an additional cover. Slide in here. Finally, I've actually got kind of good at getting underneath that door. Whew. I am very glad I waited to cook after all that was said and done, but that corner drapes down, all that kind of flows down into that hole that I dug for any drainage issues. There's the ambiance of the shelter, the little candle in the wall, and then there is our beautiful roaring fire. And I mean, I'm sweating, like I'm actually sweating. So let's get topside. I'm gonna let that burn down. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna throw some wood over here on this outside of this left corner. That way, if I need to add wood, I can just reach out, grab it, put it on. But I'm definitely going to sleep with my head up towards this direction, because there's no way I gotta have a heat stroke in 30 minutes if I was to, you know, try to get all cozy up over my noggin. So yeah, let's get to the dessert. Alright guys, so my recording device needs charging once more, because I've been letting a lot of I've just been leaving it continuously rolling while I'm working on things for, you know, different editing opportunities. So once again, I don't know yet. I hope the audio quality is not cancerous, but anyways, it's time for dessert. And for dessert, we got some beautiful Bullet Bourbon, the Frontier whiskey, baby. 45%, which is 90 proof. And I've had this before, but it's been a while since I've had it. Yep, to get this lid off, one-handed. Let's take and give her the old vice grip between the old calf muscles. Boom, lid's off. So thanks for everybody that's watched, especially this far. If you went all the way, if you watched all the way through. So yeah, cheers. Oh man, well, that's better than any cake you can have. I can promise you that much. So yeah, I'm just going to take and peel top side. Right there's, you know, the big old hole. There's my stuff. I gotta take and try to decide where exactly I want to put my bag and everything, because there is room in there, and I don't mind like the bottom of that. There's nothing in it that matters if there's a little bit of moisture touches the bottom of it. I mean, it's an Alice pack. I was flipping run through Vietnam like no tomorrow, so I ain't worried about the bag. But I've also considered, since I have my poncho still, and I'm not going to have any use for it, because what I'm going to do with the sleeping arrangement, I'll have to use the GoPro to show you guys this too, because it's such a tight space. I'm going to put the emergency space blanket down over the logs to act, I call them logs, but they're, you know, wrist-sized sticks. And that's going to act as a moisture barrier between the ground and the logs. And also, I'm going to have the reflective side up, so that adds, I guess, some type of benefit. And then just going to have the wool blanket on top of that, and then we're going to rock and roll and see how that goes. If anything, I think I might actually take and use my backpack as a bit of like a pillow. You can chill out here for a bit. It's getting dark. Like, I don't know, the GoPro kind of makes things look a lot lighter than it is. I mean, it's not dark, but it's not nearly that bright either. So yeah, I'm just going to chill out, and the next thing we're going to do together is get our wool blanket and our emergency space blanket and everything in there and get it situated. Here we go. So before we lose too much light, this is going to be the sleeping arrangement. So on top of our wooden bed, we've got our green reusable emergency space blanket, which was very handy in most of the construction of this thing. And then we've got World War II Air 100%. This is not one of the 80-20 green wool blankets. This one is 100% wool. And let me kind of lean back here. Up towards the head area, I've got the wool blanket rolled back until I decide to get into it. It's probably going to be kind of hard to see now that it's got darker. I mean, there we go. Shed some light on the equation. But that drapes, you know, in between that. And then I intentionally have the opening of my wool blanket in the event that I want to get under it. Like, I really think I'm just going to end up sleeping on top of it. But I've got it on this side, that way, you know, if any dirt or debris ends up coming off that dirt wall right there, mostly, I mean, it'll probably just end up on the emergency space blanket, but I wouldn't want to chance it, you know, rolling into the wool blanket. 45 p.m. in a underground or below ground, however you want to look at it, bushcraft shelter. Still got the candle going. I definitely think I'm just going to end up sleeping on top of this doubled up wool blanket. And where I got a lot of wood stashed on the outside of that, I'm going to take and bring it in and put it right here. That way, if I need it to be warmer, I can just throw it on the good old fire jig there. So, okay, so good morning. It's about so it's 8:21. I just got up with the with the leather jacket and everything. I did not need the wool blanket at all. I'm going to take and turn around and start a bit of a fire just to like warm up the atmosphere, and then I'm going to take everything down. I'm not going to show the takedown just because like I don't really see the point in doing that. But once again, I do plan on completely redoing and refining this setup for a more permanent situation. So like stay tuned for that, and I'm sorry for my current ability to pronunciate things, because like, right after I wake up, I'm just about as useful as okay. So the fire's going good, and it just has started raining. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm gonna take and like put my thing up like right towards the tarp. Can like just chill in here and finish the rest of our dessert. Listen to the rain. I took and lit our candle once again and put some wood on the fire. So this is gonna be it, guys. As soon as the rain stops, I'm gonna try to hike out, and then I'll probably hike back in and take everything down, because like I want to give it time to dry out if I can with everything set up. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to check the description below. You know, like it, subscribe, do all that good old stuff. And until the next one, adios.